Should the New York Giants trade Sterling Shepard? We're going to dive into that idea as Bleacher Report put that out onto Twitter. But first, let's show some love for the longest tenured Giant on this football team. Type those threes, his jersey number, down below. Yo, what up, Giants fans? You are watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. I appreciate everybody for taking time out of their busy schedules to spend a couple of minutes with us. And on today's video, we are going to react from the article that Bleacher Report put out there. They always do these where it's like one player from every team. And on today's article, or the article that came out today, it was one player for every team that each team should put on the trade block. And for the New York Giants, it was veteran wide receiver Sterling Shepard. They went on to say this for their explanation. The New York Giants currently have an abundance of slot receivers. Paris Campbell projects as their starter on the inside, while Wan'Dale Robinson enters his second NFL season as a second stringer, which could leave Sterling Shepard out to dry. The 30-year-old has struggled to stay healthy throughout his career, missing 34 games over the last 4 seasons combined. However, he has been productive when on the field, with a career average of 11.2 yards per catch, including 11.8 yards per catch on a small sample size a year ago. He's also just 2 years removed from posting 656 yards and 3 touchdowns in 12 games. Shepard is also about to enter a contract year, and the Giants have spent top 100 picks on wideouts during the last 2 drafts, Robinson in 2022 and Jalen Hyatt in 2023, adding even more reasons for them to trade the Oklahoma product. And there is no doubt that the New York Giants are deep at the wide receiver position. That shouldn't be, bells and whistles shouldn't be going off in your head like, oh, crap, you're right. The Giants are deep at wide receiver. You've been watching this show, you know that. I think that Sterling Shepard is going to make this football team. We saw him play 17 snaps in the preseason this past Friday against the Carolina Panthers, had a catch for 6 yards. And he's kind of been dominating in practice. We'll give you more info on that. But you got Hodgins, Shepard, Robinson, Slayton, Campbell, Hyatt, Crowder, Beasley, Bryce Ford-Wheaton. There's a lot of people on this team. How many are they going to keep? I think it's going to be 6 or 7 players. Will Sterling Shepard be in that? I'll give you my thoughts in a second on if I think Big Blue should trade Sterling Shepard. But I want to hear from all the real ones down in the comment section right now. Should Joe Schoen and the New York Football Giants trade veteran wide receiver Sterling Shepard? Type T for trade, type K for keep. That's going to be the pinned comment on today's video. You're about to get hit with the YouTube ad break, so take advantage of it. Scroll down and let me know, should the Giants trade Shep? My take on all of this is this. Number one, I'm not trading Sterling Shepard for scraps. Look, if a team comes out and wants Shepard on their roster, and maybe it's a 5th or a 6th round pick, which would be insane to me, sure, I would pull the trigger. But am I going to trade Sterling Shepard for a 7th round pick? Probably not, because I think the upside, if he is healthy, is he could potentially be a very productive receiver for this football team. Number 2, my question would be this. Who is trading for Sterling Shepard? The guy has played in 10 football games in the last 2 years. He has not been able to stay healthy. And why would another general manager in the NFL look at that and say, yeah, I'm willing to give up a draft pick for him? I don't see how that's possible. 3 games played last year for the Giants, only 13 receptions, 154 yards, but he did have that really nice touchdown against the Tennessee Titans that really turned that game around in the season opener. 2021, we saw him get off to a great start. He cooked Patrick Surtain against the Denver Broncos. And we saw in 2020, the guy put up a productive season as well as he did in 2019. I'm going to continue to say this. I've said it a couple of times on this channel. If healthy, and I know it's a big if. What if? I get it. If Sterling Shepard can stay healthy, I honestly believe he's the best wide receiver on this football team from a pure routes perspective, from a pure hands perspective, getting open, creating separation, being able to line up in the slot, being able to line up outside, and also the rapport that he has built up with Daniel Jones. And we have seen in training camp and preseason practices so far, when healthy and on the football field, Sterling Shepard is cooking Giants defensive backs. Jordan Renan on the 21st said this. Wide receiver Sterling Shepard had a big day on Monday. He caught 4 passes in practice The second-team cornerbacks couldn't stay with him. Shepard has looked really good and explosive as of late. For a guy coming off an ACL and Achilles to look explosive, I am excited to see what he can do once Sunday Night Football gets here. On top of that, Sterling Shepard is loved in this locker room. Shoot, I love Sterling Shepard. He might be one of my favorite Giants of this era. For him to do what he did last year, after tearing that ACL, after tearing that Achilles the prior year, call it a cheerleader, call it whatever you want, he did everything under his power, even though he couldn't be on the football field in practice, to put the Giants, or do everything he can to help the Giants win football games. Mentoring young receivers, being a hype guy on the sideline, celebrating his team, being passionate. You love to see that at a veteran player because we've seen so many times that when a player gets hurt, they just leave the team. They aren't a part of it anymore. No, not Shepard. He is bought in, and he bleeds Giants blue, and that means something to me. It really does. Also, this coming from Darren Waller. Quote, Sterling Shepard has looked great at practice, and he has. And there's clips on my Twitter at @MarshallGreen_ that you can go check out. He's cooking Giants DBs. I would like to see him go up against Adoree Jackson and Deonte Banks and Trey Hawkins a little bit more, but we have seen him against the second DBs take him to school because he is still a good football player. And Daniel Jones loves Sterling Shepard. This was his quote about him recently. It's extremely impressive, the fact that he's back on the football field already. He's worked really hard to get back. And yeah, he's been a big-time player for us these past few years when he's been healthy. He's worked hard to get back and made a lot of plays in practice and then looked good tonight, talking about the game on this past Friday against the Panthers. So it's extremely impressive. Look, if your quarterback wants a receiver on the team, you keep them. And why does Daniel Jones want Sterling Shepard on this football team? Because they have great chemistry. You see, maybe not last year because he only played in 2.5 games, but whenever Jones and Shepard have played together, third and short, he's looking for number 3. Second and 8, he's looking for number 3. Don't forget about this play that Sterling Shepard had against the Tennessee Titans when he took the top off the defense and went 75 yards to the crib and was dancing in the end zone after the Giants got 6 points on the board. What about in 2021, first game of the season? They tried to put rookie cornerback Patrick Surtain on him, and he cooked him on a 17-yard over route, got north and south, broke a tackle, and got into the end zone. There is always a spot on your football team for veterans that are liked in the locker room and are still good football players. I know he's injured. You don't have to tell me that anymore. Trust me, I know he's been unable to stay healthy. But I truly believe that Sterling Shepard still has gas in the tank and can still be a productive football player on this offense. Shoot, I'm tired. It hasn't happened this year, but I'm tired of what happened last year. I don't want to see Marcus Johnson out there anymore. Can't tell me that Sterling Shepard's not better than Richie James at this point, and he had 60 catches for the Giants last year. I have other trade candidates that we'll quickly talk about in a second, but first, trying to make some money? If you are, listen up. Go to chatsports.com/bet, use the promo code chat125, and BetUS will hook you up with a 125% deposit bonus. I've bet on the preseason because I'm a degenerate. I'm getting rich. You can do the same right here, chatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125, and they will match your initial deposit of 125%. Let's close out the show talking quickly about some other guys that I could potentially, maybe not strongly, think of as trade candidates, but maybe if the Giants are cutting down their 53-man roster and they're thinking maybe we can get a pick back for one of these guys instead of cutting them, who that could be. What about Bobby McCain? I thought there was going to be a role for Bobby McCain when he signed with the Giants back in the spring. But there's been other guys that have emerged and I thought, quite frankly, have looked better. Pinnock's looked better. Belton's looked better. I'm more intrigued by Javarius Owens. So maybe there's a team out there in the need of a veteran safety that can play the strong free and nickel that could come calling and maybe give up a day 3 pick for Bobby McCain. While I don't think that this next player is going to be traded, that's Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor is not going to be traded. But let's say an injury happens to a quarterback in week 3 of the preseason and maybe someone wants to get desperate and trade for a guy. What about Tyrod Taylor? I'm not against that. And honestly, with the way Tommy DeVito, the victory formation DeVito, has played these first 2 preseason games, can he maybe be your QB2? I'll ask you, pick a quarterback number 2. Who would you rather have back up Daniel Jones? Is it Tyrod Taylor? Is it Tommy DeVito? Type TT, type TD. Let me know. The last player I think the Giants could move on from, as I do think they're going to cut him. He will not be on this football team. What about Amanio Ruarie? I was a little bit excited when the Giants signed him in the spring because he's had his seasons where he's had 8 interceptions before, but then I called my good buddy Mike, who covers the Detroit Lions for Chat Sports, and he told me he's one of the worst defensive backs in the NFL, and he's led the league in holdings and penalties multiple times. I checked it out. It's true. Amanio Ruarie is just not a good football player at this point. And even though the Giants are somewhat thin at the cornerback position, he's not going to make this roster. Especially if you're going to have Deonte Banks and Deonte Banks and Trey Hawkins playing on the outside with Adoree Jackson in the slot. That eliminates the need that you have more so for an outside corner. And it sounds like my man Cordell Flott is done running in the slot, and they're going to move him to the outside. So the need for Ruarie is not really all that high. Maybe the Giants could trade him for a 7th-round pick. Not even sure if someone will be willing to give that up. So we got McCain, Tyrod Taylor, Amanio Ruarie. To be honest with you, I don't think any of these guys are going to be traded, but those are the 3 guys I thought could be the most. As always, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you for hanging out and rocking and rolling with us here on Giants Now.